Are you tired of quick fix, magical diet and workout plans that promise you the world, often deliver marginal results at best? Most coaches miss crucial pieces of the body transformation puzzle. So today, I'm going to reveal some of the real science behind body transformations and how you can use that science to produce lasting change. Hey everyone, it's me, Chris, from Body Nova Fitness Coaching. And today, we're going to talk about the real science of sustainable body. When you're a coach or when you are a trainer, I'm not going to say coach because I believe there's a difference between coaching and training. And I think that where people started with training wanting to be a negative thing,
Feel the love.
coaching being positive, too many trainers are latching on to the title coach when they don't do any real coaching. Let me explain that, okay? So sometimes as trainers, we have to take on very large workloads of people to make the living that we want to get. So with that involved, because there's a lack of education, trainers try to find ways to make everything easy and try to make everything shortcuts so that they can handle that workload with less stress, okay? As you get on with helping people and you learn more about different people and some of the different differences in the people, you strive to be better or become a coach and not a trainer. I've had to always look at how people are different and how you can create different strategies to make sure that everyone succeeds instead of trying to come up with one magical strategy that's rigid and has no room for adjustment for how people are, how people live, how people's goals is. We try to find how everyone's different so they can fit into their lifestyle. So it's much more likely they will succeed. If you make it much more likely for them to succeed, it's easier for them to get lasting results. Okay, first off, everyone knows the foundation of weight loss, but it really just any type of transformation is going to begin with the calories. It's going to begin with the calories. Calories in versus calories out. How do they match up? Is calories out bigger than calories in? Then you should be losing weight. Is calories in bigger than calories out? Then you should be gaining weight. Well, what about if you're in the middle? Because a lot of people, their goals, they have goals of body recomp or some sort of body recomp where they don't just want to lose weight and be thin and lean and skinny. They want to build muscle. They want to build muscle in certain areas, which will help them look good. And as they look good, they feel better about themselves. With that being said, the science behind it is people have different genetics. People comes in different sizes and shapes and things like that. People also have different needs. Some people, they can't train hard because their posture is bad, or they can't train hard because they have injuries. Activity level, stress, they all have different things that they need to overcome in order to get those results. Can they manage their stress? Can they get better sleep? Can they manage that appetite where if they get stressed out from the work or from their job or from their life, they go to binge eating? What is their view of themselves? And those are all different things that we have to get into it. So again, I look for ways to personalize, and it does take more work because you have to look at each person differently as opposed to simplify it to the point where you treat everyone the same. So in that regard, individualization is king. You want to see how everyone is different and you want to cater to those differences instead of treating everyone exactly the same. Sometimes those differences will define how that strategy will work, or what the strategy will be is for that person, the road that they're going to take that might be different than everybody else's, so they can find happiness and have a transformation that they are happy with. Another thing, metabolism isn't static. So people like to think of metabolism as always being this simple mathematic thing where it's just 3,500 calories is 1 pound, 7,000 calories is 2 pounds. And it's sort of like that. They make everything very mathematical for that reason. What the problem is the body is always fighting for survival. So you can only, and it depends again on your size, your lifestyle and stress levels, your lean body mass, how big of a calorie deficit that you can take. So if you take too big a calorie deficit, or if you try to make the gap between what you take in, the calories in, versus the calories out too big, your body fights back because it doesn't know that you're trying to lose weight. You know, it doesn't know that everything is okay. It's taking the absence of food as a threat. And so it's kind of do things to help you survive. So it may slow down the rate at which you burn calories. Or also the flip side to it is exercise. The calories normally spent for exercise, it may try to bring that down or bring it down for other tasks to help to make sure that you burn less calories. Or even the flip side to that is make you less likely to do things. Like if you're an active person, you're mowing your lawn, you're walking your dog, you know, you're doing all these little tasks and things like that, it'll make you less likely to want to get up and do that. Get up and fold your clothes, you know, things like that. So what ends up happening is you do less work, so you burn less calories, and that gap between calories in and calories out closes. Okay, and there's also those macros matter. Okay, so if you don't get enough protein, then you start breaking down your muscle tissue for the amino acids. If you start breaking down the muscle tissue for the amino acids, what happens? Remember, up to 70% of your total daily calorie expenditure or energy expenditure is your lean body mass. If you lose your lean body mass, you burn less calories, and again, weight loss becomes more difficult. So, you know, making sure you get enough protein so you maintain your lean body mass is going to be critical. So also, if you get too aggressive with calorie intakes, when you have to come off of that diet, your body, if it doesn't try to fight back by making you more hungrier and ramping up your hunger hormones and turning off your satiety hormones, it will be easier because, man, you didn't respect your lean body mass. It will be easier for you to gain the weight back. So a lot of crash diets and things like that, they don't respect that. Or a lot of one-size-fits-all diets, they don't respect that. And so if you're a bigger person, you know, and you're on a diet for a smaller person, that might be something you need to take, or vice versa, you know, because bigger people can usually take larger calorie deficits than a smaller person. You know, a bigger overweight or obese person can usually tolerate larger calorie deficits than a smaller person. If you're on this one-size-fits-all thing, you could create the conditions that even if you lose the weight, you're more likely to gain it back because you've dropped the amount of calories or you've dropped your basal metabolic rate. Remember, basal metabolic rate is controlled by your lean body mass also, so you have to respect that. Another thing that coaches often miss is, again, they're thinking weight loss is only mathematical, okay? So you have to respect the body's physiology. You have to look for hormonal harmony. It's not just about the calories. So you can lose the weight and you can adjust the calories and you can lose the weight. But again, if you go too far, your body tries to make up for that, or your body tries to correct that. Okay, so in order to create the energy, your body can produce more cortisol. Okay, cortisol is necessary within the process, but you don't want it running wild. You don't run it too much because it creates more problems. Okay. It can keep you up, keep you from sleeping, which will cause problems with your blood sugar levels there. If you have blood sugar issues, you'll also have problems with energy levels. You'll have problems with sex hormones like testosterone. And we all need it. Women don't think they need testosterone. They think it's only a male thing. It's like, no, we both have it. Women just have less. But also, if your blood sugar levels going wacky, you'll have more cravings to try to stabilize your blood sugar. But you usually crave the wrong foods will make the blood sugar go wild. It's more about trying to get the right deficit and have the right behaviors instead of really trying to go super overly aggressive to drop large amounts of weight every week instead of taking time, getting things right, getting your sleep right, getting the nutrition just right for you to start losing weight and losing 1 to 2 pounds a week. Usually it will average over time to be 1 to 2 pounds per week in a successful transformation, because it's not always going to be just linear drops. There's going to be weeks, where things will stay steady. Maybe your body is getting nutrients that it needs, because you change your lifestyle. So there's a recomp. Maybe you change something in training and your body's adjusting by giving you more muscle. There's a lot of things that could be going on. That's why it's not always linear. Or it just might be time to pivot, because there'll be some people, and I've gotten people where their nutritionist said, oh yeah, I'm taking 900 calories a day or 1,200 calories a day, and I can't lose any more weight. Well, it's like, hey, to me, I can't drop your calories anymore, because that would be dumb, right? It's time to pivot. And that might also be what's being told. So you could pivot, and instead of trying to get a straight weight loss, you try to gain a little bit of muscle, and you try to get closer to your maintenance calories, so your body has a little bit more of what it needs, your metabolism get back healthy, and then you can pursue later weight loss at that day. You want to manage the stress, because you want to manage the stress. You want to make sure you get your sleep right. You want to respect your testosterone levels and also your cortisol levels. Testosterone high, cortisol low. You want to take care of your basic nutrition, so your body has all that it needs to do certain processes. So certain things are non-negotiable. Another thing, I don't think sometimes we talk about the psychological game. You see it in motion. Actually, Jillian Michaels was that's kind of more of what I respected her for on Biggest Loser, because she would try to get into somebody's head, see kind of what made them work, or how they got to where they were. I saw this in motion. I did an internship with Krista Schaus, rest in peace, in Canada, Precision Nutrition. And she was really good at interviewing and emotional interviewing, and then you can see what got in people's way and why they were the way they were. She was excellent. She was probably the best at it, bar none. I've never seen anything like that, and that I've never been in a room with so many crying women. But anyway, what you learn, or one of the things you learn from that, is sometimes it's not just about eating so much. It's just how people look at themselves, how people believe in themselves, their ability, their self-efficacy. So when you look at all the greatest upsets, Douglas over Tyson, what was that, the hockey with the kids in the '84 Olympics and all that stuff, all of those upsets, the one thing they had in common is, even though no one else believed that it could happen, they all had large belief in their ability to make that upset happen. Or they call that self-efficacy, which is they have a strong belief in their ability to get their task done. But when you start talking to people about their weight loss, they don't have that self-efficacy. So sometimes you got to get your mental mindset right, and you got to be focused, and you might have to be focused for the long term. You have to understand it's like, okay, I might not be able to get where I'm supposed to be at in 90 days. I am willing to see this out. I'm willing to take the right behaviors after I find out what they are, and I'm willing to see this out. I'm willing to commit doing it 1 to 2 pounds per week over time until I get to a good place. And I'm going to take these behaviors and do it. And I can do this. If they can do this, I can do this. So the self-efficacy thing is a big thing, and you have to be ready to change, not just expect the results, but not change anything. That's what I see a lot of people do. They want these big results, but they want to keep their life exactly how it is. And it's just like, dude, to change something, you got to change something. You'll have to, if you know you have to have these are your calories and this is your protein intake and these are your macros, then you need to get on that. And if you want to get on the path to losing weight or body recomping quickly, then you have to get on your plan quickly, okay? And you can't run from your assessment. So you got to test your body fat. You probably got to test your weight. You might need to do some circumference measurements, things like that. You can't run from it. You have to be willing to face it head on, because it gives you the information that you need in order to have the success that you are chasing. So you have to understand that, there could be a little setback, but then be determined, like, okay, well, I know what I did. I'm aware of what I did or what I didn't do. I'm going to make that adjustment so I can continue to have success, because I will be successful. You have to have that, and sometimes that also involves not putting yourself in situations where you can fail. And I've had this with clients and stuff like that before, where they started losing weight, and then, you know, they'd have to hang out with friends and stuff like that. And instead of the friends or the people trying to go to a place where you could stay on track, you know, they only go to places where they can do what they want to do. So if you don't have control of that situation, you can't say, okay, either I'm going to eat beforehand and I'm just going to drink water while I'm there or whatever, then you can't go to that situation, because that's setting you up for failure. If you don't have the self-control or the strength or the determination to stay on track. I'm not saying that you should never do that, because remember, it's 90% compliance usually with nutrition. That may be, okay, I have to build up and make sure that I'm on point the whole rest of the week so that I can have this little bit on this night. I can't clean out the refrigerator. I got to do it at that one meal, and I have to walk. And then again, that's setting you up for success. You know what you need to do, you believe that you can do it, and then you execute, because there's a bigger thing in mind than just that one night. You have plans in play that might take a while, and you don't want to derail those plans. Understand that if you're in any of these body transformation, any of your goals, especially if you're a body recomp, everything isn't going to be linear. That means that it's not always going to be 1 pound a week or 2 pounds a week or something like that. So there's going to be plateaus, and there's going to be just times where, you know, life gets in the way and you can't do what you can't let that get in your way. You can't let that shake your confidence. You know, you have to stay on the task. So for me, a lot of the times, stalling, so let's say you've lost 8 pounds a month for 3 months, and then all of a sudden it might be 4 pounds or 2 pounds or something like that. I'm oversimplifying it so I don't have to do it weekly. So that might be time for a change. That change could be lowering your calories. That change could be upping your activity. Or again, I like to use recomp phases, or different types of recomp phases, or a change in the training. So there's 2 ways to build muscle, okay? You can do it with heavier weights and a lot of muscular tension. They call it mechanical tension, where you're lifting heavier weights, or maybe employing big stretches, slower reps, time and tension, things like that. Or it could be metabolic stress, where you have more time under tension or longer sets. That could be trisets, giant sets, supersets, and things like that. And then doing so with short rest periods, okay? One will get you more fat loss, the other will get you more muscle, might get you more muscle gain. You can always pivot. Again, I'm big about pivoting, because everybody has multiple goals. So you can chase the other goals for a little bit of time, build that metabolism back up and healthy, and then go back after your weight loss goal if you have in a recomp situation, or vice versa. You could say, okay, I'm gaining muscle. Let me cut and drop some body fat. Let me change from heavy lifting to supersets or giant sets. Let me do more volume. There's a lot of different ways that you can pivot and change, and that's in some of the programs I'm setting up in my app. Those will be in there, so you don't have to think about it. But if you need some ideas, you know, shoot me a message and we can talk. Maybe I have to make a video about it. No big deal. But sometimes when things are stalling, you're not linearly making progress, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's saying, okay, it's time for change. How are you going to change, or what are you going to do to change? So again, that's why, as a coach, it's not just about giving you a plan, giving you a short-term plan. It's creating a long-term plan that's going to adapt to you, or adapt with you as you change. You're not going to be the same person as you are when you started. If you don't have a plan, or you do a one-size-fits-all plan, when you change, your results will more than likely stop. Okay? So we always change, we always pivot, we look for the whole picture of what you want, so that you can make that progress that you've been wanting to make. It's not always just super and linear and perfect. And we also will talk about who you are, because you have to believe, you have to build up yourself. You have to, and sometimes a lot of people have a lot of negative stuff around them, a lot of people who speak about them negatively or speak to them negatively. You have to change that, because you have to believe in you. This is not an easy task. and things will go wrong. So you have to believe in yourself and believe in your ability to get that. And that's some of the things that we go with, or we put you in a place where you can put your, focus your energy in the right direction and help you get what you are seeking. Again, it's strategic programming with the workouts, using the different ways, using different ways that you can get, that help you get the results that you want, helping you get the proper sleep, or helping you with your nutrition program, find a balance, find something that you can do that'll get you in there. Looking at the data with your body fat and weight, circumference measurements, photos, things like that, so that we can see what your needs are, or make sure that you're going along the right path. Because sometimes people only look at the scale, and if the scale doesn't drop, they're a failure. And a lot of times that's not the case. The body is sometimes giving you muscle or something like that because you've changed your lifestyle. You used to eat crappy, you used to eat low protein. Your body has the protein that it needs to help build the muscle that you need to do the work that you need to do. The app that I'm working on will have a lot of that in there. So, or just even drop a message below and maybe we can talk about a personal strategy session. I can give you a point in the right direction, but not highly detailed information because, anyway, until next time.